Today, I wanted to go over this lady's video. I have not watched this. Somebody just said it to me this morning. Her channel's name is Annie's Comeback. So pretty straightforward there. We're gonna play this at 1.5 speed. I hope this works out well for this woman.
This is one of the hardest videos I've ever had to record before, but it's also one of the most important ones. I told myself if I was going to start this channel, I was going to do it right, and I was going to be 100% raw and 100% real. My weight gain has been the biggest insecurity that I've been personally going through for a decade.
It should be.
But I'm done hiding. I'm so sick and tired of me kind of like avoiding it. It's time for me to kind of hit it head on. So my weight gain didn't really start overnight. I have been struggling with this my whole entire life, and I'm going to show you guys live pictures and timestamps throughout the years. But I've definitely noticed there's been stages in my life that things have gotten way worse. Growing up as a child, I wasn't necessarily overweight. I want to consider myself a healthy, like thick child, if that kind of makes sense. But I was never too skinny and I was never too overweight. Then going into middle school, I definitely started getting a little bit chubbier. I definitely started seeing like the roundness in my face, but it still wasn't too bad.
Your parents should have involved you in group sports immediately.
I wasn't necessarily like obese or super overweight. When I went into high school, obviously those were like my best years. I looked great.
You're overweight in that picture. And I know people are like, she doesn't look overweight. She is. The problem is society has skewed what is and isn't overweight. In this picture, that young lady likely has a waist-to-height ratio over 0.5.
My freshman, sophomore, junior year, I was the tiniest I think I've ever been. I was very active as well. I was going out a lot with my friends, living life. I didn't really eat healthy per se, but I guess when you're at that age, your metabolism is just a little bit different. Even me in high school, I would kind of like judge myself and be like, my body doesn't look the same as my other friends that are super skinny and super fit.
Because you're big.
Like, why do I have such big thighs? Why do I have like a rounder face?
Because you eat too much.
But I was still confident at the same time.
You shouldn't have been. I don't know why you would be. If you know you're fat, why are you confident? Do something about it. And I'm not trying to be, I don't need to try to be mean. Obviously, pretty much everything that flies out of my mouth is considered mean by people, but it's your fault. You could have done something about it. I didn't look like the rest of my friends, but I still had confidence. Why? You're hurting yourself, right? You're eating too much. That's the difference.
When I left high school, that's when things started getting a little bit crazy. I didn't have such an active routine anymore.
Morbidly obese in that picture.
One of my first jobs out of high school was sit-down desk, and I'll never forget I had like a crazy manager that she would always order like takeout. I guess I was so young and I really wanted to like grow, and I didn't even know what growing was. I used to like sit down and eat with her every single time, and it got to a point that I
understand what you're saying, but you were clearly already morbidly obese, and I don't think you needed the excuse to eat. Now, don't get me wrong, you might have been using it to your advantage, but it's important that if you're going to go on this journey, it's very important to be self-actualized. You were bigger than your friends because you ate more than your friends, or at least you ate more for your caloric expenditure than your friends. This is not a mystery. I'm not a wizard.
I think it was my grandfather that told me, he's like, hey, you're putting on some weight pretty quick. Ever since you started working at the dealership, is like, are you okay? Is it hormonal, or are you going through something that we don't know about? And I will never forget that the day that he told me that is when it all clicked. Because obviously, like if they're paying for my lunch, I'm eating chicken wings one day, burgers the next day. It was never healthy food, So that was weird. And that definitely opened up my appetite. Fast forward to like maybe I was 20, 21 years old. I was definitely getting a little bit fuller. I was getting chunkier. And then I ended up getting health-wise and weight gain-wise. I had a pretty good pregnancy. I really didn't even gain weight. I was still a thick girl, but truly, I didn't gain weight. When I went to my last trimester, I remember that's when I started picking up some weight. But in reality, I think it was a maximum of like 25 to 30 pounds. It still wasn't anything crazy. So then in 2016, in March, I gave birth to my amazing and beautiful son. And that is when everything went crazy. My goodness, the health issues I had
That's not when everything went crazy. It was already crazy. This is why people fail, right? It was crazy before that. You were morbidly obese before that. It's wild to me. Oh, this is when it fell apart. No, it fell apart when you got fat as fuck to begin with. That's where it fell apart, right? And again, like this is like a very serious thing. I'm not trying to be mean to you. I'm trying to wake you up to the fact that I've heard a bunch of cope, like already in this video. And I understand she's making this video to take accountability. But ma'am, if you manage to lose the 150 pounds, you're going to look back at this video and be like, holy shit, I was making excuses. Because that's what you're doing, is you're just making excuses. If you start pulling the whole hormonal bullshit, no. I have tons of clients that come to me when they get pregnant. We manage them through their pregnancy, and then we have them lose weight after the pregnancy, even while they are breastfeeding. If you're on a medication, if you don't have room for bullshit food, if you have PCOS, hypothyroidism, or any litany of things like that, you don't have room for bullshit in your nutrition. Stating you have a condition, stating you have a slow metabolism makes it even more paramount that you eat very nutritiously with nutrient-dense foods that are devoid of empty calories, such as come with ultra-processed food. This woman could eat 1,400 calories or 1,200 calories and lose weight. And for those of you that say 1,200 calories is too fucking low, she can get all of her protein, all of her fats, and some carbohydrates that she needs on 1,200 fucking calories. She just has no other room for other bullshit. If you have a problem with your basal metabolic rate, you don't have room for bullshit in your life. If you want to remain healthy or get healthy, you are going to very much need to minimize what you eat. 100 grams of protein is 400 calories. 50 grams of fat is another 450 fucking calories. You've got room for some non-starchy vegetables and shit like that in there. You got plenty of fucking calories and plenty of food. As long as you get plenty of nourishment, you've got it. You're overeating. That's what it is.
That's where I went wrong. I waited it out too much. I should have started checking on myself like literally 6 months after. But the weight just kept on coming on and coming on and coming on. And then I started noticing every time I would weigh myself, it was another 20 pounds, another 10 pounds, another 15 pounds. I gave birth to my son.
How the fuck long are you waiting between weigh-ins?
I will never forget the last appointment in my OBGYN before giving birth to my son. I was weighing 273 pounds. I know that's a really big number, but
before giving weight to your son, you weighed 273, and then you're saying after your son is when the weight started piling the fuck on? Are you kidding me? You were already 35 pounds overweight. You were already 135 pounds overweight at 270 pounds. I want to help you, Annie, but you gotta get out of the delusional phase. You gotta fucking be realistic with yourself.
But keep in mind, I am 5'8". I'm a pretty tall girl and big build, and
you do not have the musculature. A 5'8" average build male, in order to be healthy, have a healthy waist to height ratio and everything like that, should weigh somewhere around 165 pounds. You're a female, so it'd be less than that. I weigh about 190. I'm 5'9", and that's because of my bone structure and the muscle I carry. A normal man, my height, should weigh likely about 165. A woman that's 5'8", an inch shorter than me, and 270 pounds is at least twice what she should fucking weigh.
I think when I started my pregnancy, I was already 240 or 250. That's me with a 9-month baby in me, 273 pounds, right? When I gave birth to Junior, I'll never forget, I dropped immediately. Like, I think I went down to like 260s, but then instead of me like continuing to lose weight, I just kept on gaining weight. And I couldn't get out of the 280s. And then I went to 290s. And then I finally hit the 300 mark.
As you kept eating. As you're gaining weight, it doesn't occur to you to eat less? No metabolic issue is going to cause you to be twice your body size. That's your fucking behaviors. That's 100% your behaviors. Please, Annie, please wake up and realize the problem is you and the food. That's the problem. It's nothing else. You are not some fucking mystery.
2019 era, that's when the keto diet got like so famous and so crazy. I was already dating Oscar at the time, so we did it together. And I lost a lot of weight with that keto diet. I didn't do it for a long time, but I did it for like, I think 60 days, like 2 or 3 months. And I lost like 40 pounds. And for me, when I do lose weight, it shows immediately. So I remember I was feeling myself.
You were feeling yourself. You were huge. You shouldn't be feeling yourself at 270 pounds. Reality exists. Get there faster. You are also saying that you could eat less calories than what you burn and lose fucking weight. It's you. It's the food. You just proved my point.
Maybe this keto diet is something I should do forever. Way easier said than done. It gets to a point that you get a little bit sick and tired of eating so much protein and so much cheese.
Oh, you gonna be okay? You'd rather fucking glutton yourself to 300 pounds than adult about your food?
Like, I was missing just eating something crunchy, and maybe I didn't educate myself well, and I didn't really do the diet how I was supposed to.
So in other words, you fucking started eating more. It's you. It's you. You just said that you can lose weight if you follow a plan that puts you into a caloric deficit. But you want the food. But you want the crunchy stuff and shit like that. It didn't just miraculously come on. It's what you're fucking eating.
We kind of just followed YouTube and like I think Instagram posts of keto people, but still I had lost so much weight. Then we stopped doing the keto diet. I started eating carbs again and I blew up pretty quick. Now, since I was like maybe 28 to now I'm 32, I've been yo-yo dieting. I've been trying other different type of programs. I did Weight Watchers. I even did injections, the Monjaro injections, but unfortunately my insurance plan doesn't cover it, of course, because I am not diabetic.
So you need to access medication to get yourself to eat less.
And by all means, I do feel like those medications, if they're needed for diabetics, it should be given to them first. But, you know, the way that I was gaining weight, like I'm not just a 20-pound heavy girl. I am 100 pounds overweight, you know? So if I keep on going the way I'm going right now, maybe my blood work doesn't say I have diabetes or high cholesterol, but maybe next year I'm a full-on diabetic. So, you know, I tried my hardest with my insurance plan to try to get it approved.
If only you would have tried your hardest with your actual actions, like what you actually fucking do. If only you would have tried super hard with that.
The pharmacy, and they were like, okay, well, if you want to pick it up, I think I was only on it for like 3 months, and it was going pretty well for me. But then the pharmacy came up to me and they were like, oh, okay, so do you want to pick up your refill? And I was like, yes, obviously. And I remember the pharmacist looking at me like I was insane. And then she told me it's $1,200. And I was like, who is paying that? I told her like I was paying $25 copays. What happened? And she told me ever since January 1st, insurance plans are very strict now. This is only for diabetic patients unless you have that diagnosis. So forget about that. The little monies that I do get from social media right now, I don't want to just blow it off on like self-paying for this medication. Do I sound crazy?
Yeah, you don't want to blow it off. You'd rather keep spending the massive amount of money on food it would take to feed your ass to stay this size than prioritize anything else. See the issue here. You're spending money to be fat, and then you don't want to spend more money to not be fat. Instead of, you could just stop spending the money that makes you fat.
Sometimes when I say that out loud, I do feel like I sound crazy, and I feel like maybe I should put my health first and just buy it. I don't know. You guys let me know in the comments. Maybe I'm overthinking it.
No. You should put your health forward and stop eating like a hog. That's what you should do. You've admitted multiple times here, the medication that gets you to eat less makes you lose weight. The diet, the keto diet that gets you to eat less makes you lose weight. You are complaining about not being able to basically eat shit and not get fat. You're not going to lose weight permanently when your mind is like this. I'm just letting you know this. Annie, if I can give you any piece of advice, and I mean any piece of advice, you've got to change your mind frame around this.
It's the year of 2025. Today is June 18th. And as of current day, I am weighing a whopping 314 pounds. And what's really sad is that this is not even the heaviest I've ever been. My heaviest check-in and weigh-in was 323 pounds. And I remember that day I freaked out. Like, I just didn't eat the whole weekend. I was so like crazy because I started thinking, I cannot believe I'm even 300 pounds. So for the past couple of years, me getting up to the 300s and kind of like staying there for a while, especially since I turned like 30, I started seeing a difference in myself. Even when I was already starting to gain weight and I was still in like the mid 200s, even though I was already a bigger girl, I was gaining weight, obviously, I always had my makeup done. I always had my hair done. I wouldn't even go to Publix without makeup or hair done because I was always really self-conscious, but in a good way. Like, my self-esteem was still good and I like to look good.
That's the problem. You think you look good at 315 fucking pounds. You don't. You look like death. You look like you're trying to commit suicide via food. That's the reality. You don't look good. I know this is very controversial, but this is why it's important to make sure that they understand that, hey, love you as a person. You're a great, and I'm not saying I love this person as a person because I have no idea, but the fat people in my life love you as a person, but you don't look good. You're fat. It does not look good. You have to realize that us not helping them see reality hurts them and society. The population level lying experiment known as political correctness and virtue signaling is killing people.